Your front yard can be full of healthy plants and still feel wrong. A shrub blocks a window, a shortcut wears through a flower bed, one sunny corner dries out while another stays soggy, and the irrigation waters both as if they were the same place. But none of those failures begin at the garden center. They begin when plants are chosen before the yard is mapped. By the end of this video, you will be able to sketch the hidden systems that decide whether a landscape becomes coherent or turns into years of pruning, replacing, and watering. The map does not need drafting software or artistic skill. Start with an overhead outline of the house. Property lines, driveway, sidewalks, doors, windows, gates, patios, large trees, and anything else that is expensive or impossible to move. Add rough measurements. A sheet of paper is enough, because accuracy matters more than beauty at this stage. Then put the plant catalog aside. The first lines on this map belong to people. Trace every route your household actually uses. Follow the walk from the driveway to the front door, from the back door to the trash bins, from the hose spigot to the vegetable bed, and from the gate to the mower shed. Include the route for a wheelbarrow, delivery driver, dog, stroller, or anyone with limited mobility. A path that looks graceful from the street can become an obstacle if it pinches around a shrub or ends where nobody wants to go. Bare soil cutting diagonally across a lawn is not a failure of discipline, it is evidence. People are showing you where the useful route belongs. Design that route before surrounding it with plants, and make its width, surface, slope, and turning space fit the people and equipment that will use it. Local accessibility and construction requirements matter when steps, retaining walls, steep slopes, or public-facing walks are involved. Movement also includes what you need to see. Stand inside the living room, at the kitchen sink, on the porch, and in the driver's seat at the end of the driveway. Mark views worth framing and views worth screening. Keep critical visibility open near streets, sidewalks, and driveways, and check local side triangle rules before planting a hedge at a corner. A privacy screen that creates a traffic hazard is not a successful landscape. Now wait for rain. A dry afternoon can hide the most expensive part of the design. During a safe rain event, watch where roof water leaves the downspouts, where runoff crosses pavement, where soil erodes, and where puddles remain after the storm. Draw arrows showing the direction of water. Mark high spots, low spots, compacted areas, and slopes where water races away before soaking in. This water map can change the entire plan. A bed that looks perfect in a photograph may sit in the path of concentrated runoff. A low area may need drainage diagnosis before it needs plants. A rain garden is designed around a drainage area, soil infiltration, slope, setbacks, and a safe overflow route. It is not simply a collection of moisture-loving flowers placed in the wettest hole. Water should not be redirected toward the foundation or pushed onto a neighboring property. Local stormwater, grading, and drainage rules vary, and major erosion, standing water near a building, or a failing retaining wall deserves professional evaluation. Plants can slow and filter some runoff, but they cannot repair every side defect. The third map is light, and one quick glance at noon will not capture it. Watch the yard in morning, midday, and late afternoon. Repeat the observation after deciduous trees leaf out, because a spot that is bright in early spring may become deep shade in summer. Note reflected heat beside pale walls or pavement, drying wind at exposed corners, and shade cast by fences and neighboring buildings. Garden labels simplify light into categories such as sun or shade. Your yard behaves as a collection of microclimates. Two beds separated by a driveway can have different soil temperatures, evaporation, wind, and water needs, even when both appear sunny. That difference will matter when irrigation zones are drawn later. Before a shovel touches soil, add the map that can prevent a dangerous and costly mistake. Mark overhead wires, utility meters, air conditioning equipment, septic components, easements, and known underground lines. In the United States, contact 811 or the appropriate state service before digging, and follow the local weighting and marking instructions. Public utilities may not include every private line on the property, so irrigation pipes, lighting cables, well lines, and private service lines may require separate locating. Utilities are not just obstacles during installation, they need future access. A shrub placed in front of a meter may be repeatedly cut back. A tree under power lines may create a long conflict with clearance work. A narrow bed packed around an air conditioning unit can block service access and airflow. Reserve working space now, while the plan is still made of pencil lines. The next overlay is time. Every young plant on a nursery bench is making a promise about its mature height, width, and form. Draw that future footprint on the map, not the size of the container you bring home. A 3-foot shrub beside a window may become an 8-foot pruning project. A spreading plant near a walkway may eventually catch clothing and hide the path edge. Plants crowded against siding can interfere with air circulation, painting, window cleaning, and repairs. Close spacing creates an instant finished look, but the landscape keeps growing after the photograph is taken. Give each tree and shrub enough room to approach its expected mature form, while recognizing that soil, climate, cultivar, and care can change its final size. Check reliable regional information rather than trusting a generic tag alone. If a plant only fits because you promise to shear it several times every year, write that labor into the design honestly. That brings us to the map homeowners rarely draw, the maintenance route. Picture a humid August morning, a cold fall cleanup, and a week when nobody has time to garden. Can you reach the back of the bed without stepping on plants? Can a hose reach the new tree? Can leaves be removed from a drain? Can a damaged branch be approached safely? A landscape that cannot be maintained from a path eventually gets maintained by trampling, neglect, or removal. List the pressures that are specific to your household. Deer browsing, rabbits, road salt, dog traffic, children at play, wildfire guidance, coastal salt spray, and local watering restrictions can all change the palette. No short national plant list can solve every one of those problems. Even plants described as deer-resistant can be browsed when conditions change, so local experience and extension guidance are more useful than guarantees. If this kind of practical garden planning helps you avoid expensive do-overs, subscribe to Pollinator. With the fixed constraints visible, the final overlays become much easier to draw. Group areas by water need and exposure. This is called hydrozoning. A sunny lawn, a shaded shrub border, and a newly planted tree should not automatically share one irrigation schedule. Plants with similar water needs can be placed together and served as a zone, which reduces the risk of drowning one group while another stays dry. Local climate, soil texture, slope, plant establishment, and current weather still determine how much and how often to irrigate. Turf can remain where it performs a clear job, such as play, circulation, or an open gathering space. Narrow strips beside pavement, steep pieces that are difficult to mow, and isolated corners may demand water and labor without providing much function. The map lets you decide where lawn earns its place and where another surface or planting would work better. Only now does the plant palette enter the process. Begin with plants adapted to each mapped condition. Then filter them by mature size, regional hardiness, water need, soil, maintenance, and the purpose they must serve. Consult your local cooperative extension service and state or regional invasive-plant resources. Native plants can be excellent choices when they match the site, but native status does not make every species suitable for every soil, street edge, foundation, or small yard. Visual unity comes from editing. Choose a restrained palette and repeat key forms, textures, or plant groups instead of buying one of everything that looks good in bloom. Use taller plants to frame or screen, medium forms to carry the composition, and lower plants to define edges without blocking walks. The exact species will change from Minnesota to Arizona to Central Florida, but the design logic survives the climate change. Plan for the calendar as well as the summer photograph. Mark when major plants flower, when foliage is strongest, which forms remain useful in winter, and where a seasonal gap appears. Pollinator value also changes through the year. So regional bloom timing and host plant relationships should be verified locally rather than assumed from a national chart. When the paper plan feels settled, test the large shapes outdoors before buying plants. Use temporary flags, rope, or another removable marker to outline paths and beds. Walk the route carrying a trash bin or wheelbarrow. Look from the street and from the windows. Check that doors open, drivers can see, utilities remain reachable, and maintenance space has not vanished. Adjusting a line now costs almost nothing. You also do not need to rebuild the entire yard in one weekend. Start with the area where several maps agree. It might be a route that needs a real path, a hot strip that should leave the lawn, or a bed where water, light, access, and mature size all support the same design. Finish that area, observe it through a season, and let what you learn improve the next phase. Return to the opening yard with the blocked window, worn shortcut, dry corner, and soggy bed. Those problems looked unrelated, but the maps reveal one cause. The landscape was treated as a shopping list instead of a living site. Now the front yard reads differently. Footsteps show circulation. Puddles show water movement. Shadows reveal microclimates. Utility marks protect the dig. Empty circles predict mature canopies. Clear routes preserve maintenance access. The plants still bring color, habitat, shade, privacy, and character, but they are no longer being asked to solve a plan that never existed. Before your next nursery trip, walk the property with paper in hand. Map what cannot move, what must flow, what needs access, and what will grow. When the right plant finally enters the right place, it will feel less like decoration and more like the final piece of a landscape that already makes sense.